What's up, everybody? This is Robert Ferguson. Yes, you're a nutritionist, a guy who shares because he cares. And you know what? I don't give 2 cents if somebody doesn't like the truth, because my goal is to provide information so that you are informed. Then there's decision. And I live off this philosophy to do no harm and to put you in a position to win. Now, here we are in 2024. And it's about to get really fun. And my job is to continue to share with you information that inspires you, that motivates you, that puts you in a position where you have the clarity, which means you're going to have the confidence to experience a continuance of success. And today is no different. Today, we're going to get off track a little bit. Well, we're not getting off track, but we're not going to talk about nutrition. We're not going to talk about metabolic chronic illnesses. Kind of we are, and I'll bring clarity to that. But we're going to talk about something that we can all benefit from. And when I say benefit from, that is being proactive in various areas of our lives. Like, I really believe that if I get married again, if that happens, that would be a blessing. I know, based on past experience and having the wisdom that I now have after being married twice, and obviously something I was doing wasn't working, right? I now know that to be proactive and to give myself the best chance, whoever that lady may be, we're going to do therapy before we're married. Because in the words of JFK, he says, the time to fix the roof, or roof, depending on where you live, is when the sun is shining. So when everything is going right, that's when you do the work. Right? I don't want to wait until the doctor says I'm pre-diabetic or I'm type 2 diabetic and then go, oh, I better get serious. I don't want to wait. There's a way to be proactive. And if you're in a situation where you are a type 2 diabetic, you are on blood pressure medication, you're struggling with weight, okay? If you're in it like that, the good news is that there's still things that you can do about it. Now, today we're going to talk about something a little different, but it's something I learned about years ago. And if I were to give myself a pat on the back, it would be that I was proactive when it came to life insurance. So I'm going to introduce you to my dear friend, Elizabeth Gonzalez, who has an amazing background in finance. She's a mom. She's on the mission to help people. So without further delay, the one and only, what's up there, Elizabeth?
Hi, thank you, Robert. Super excited to join you today. You share because you care. I love that. And that's absolutely my mission, is to share with as many people, and the opportunity to use your platform to do that, I'm very grateful for. So thank you so much.
Oh, no, thank you. And for those of you who are catching us, you can contact Elizabeth. Just look under the description and you'll see her contact information, and you can reach out, because everything we're about to talk about, and I'll remind you guys of this when we're done, is something that we all can benefit from. And so before we dive into the nuts and bolts of that, Elizabeth, can you give a little background of who you are and what you do? And then I have a series of questions to ask you.
Sure, absolutely. Well, I come from corporate America, worked at one of the 3 big bureaus for 19 years, started doing insurance on a part-time basis. And I finally decided that I wanted to really just give it all up, 6 figures and all, and start, helping one family and one business at a time. So doing insurance has been something that has been fulfilling and just completely different from working for corporate America, working for myself, having that flexibility, being a single mom, having the opportunity to kind of schedule appointments around what I need to do still with my daughter is just a great opportunity, and has been very lucrative as well.
Okay. Now, if you had to give sound bites on what we're about to talk about, like if you listen to this conversation in the next 20 minutes, this is what you're going to learn more about. What would that be?
Protect yourself from the unexpected. Put something in place before something goes wrong. Very similar to what you talk about, taking care of our health, putting healthy measures in place before we get sick. Same with insurance, having life insurance early while it's a lot less expensive and while we have less medical issues. Number 2, being prepared for the unexpected.
Mm.
Well, COVID came around and caught a lot of people off guard. A lot of people passed away. A lot of people got sick. And a lot of people got caught being unprepared because there's two things that are guaranteed in life: death and taxes. And are you prepared? Do you want to go, if you do follow Robert's, philosophy of a healthy lifestyle, we're going to live longer. We're going to live a long time. Do you really want to go into retirement holding Uncle Sam's hand? Or do you want to have something set up that's going to give you income for the rest of your life and you don't have to share?
Wow. Now, are we going to be talking to people are we talking to people in their 20s, 30s? Or are we talking about people even up to their early to late 80s and 90s?
Everything that I do can be tailored. There is no cookie cutter. But if you are young and you're in your 20s, it's an ideal time to get insurance because the cost of insurance is much lower when you're younger and you have the benefit of time on your side. So if you're 20, you got 40, 50 years of time to compound interest and grow your money, and it's going to be tax-free if you're utilizing a life insurance, which is it's a vehicle. People think they get caught up on it's life insurance. Yeah, it is. But guess what? The rich utilize this vehicle to grow their money tax-free, and they do it over and over and over. So my goal is just to help share. How do you do that? Is it real? Does it really work? Yeah, it does.
See, I love this. Okay, so you guys, for those of you who are thinking, you're 79, you're like, hey, well, I don't have life insurance. Stay there. We're also going to talk about insurance if you end up getting cancer, which the World Health Organization predicts we're about to see a significant increase of diagnosis with various types of cancer. So we're going to talk about that. So we're going to talk about a lot of things, but let's start, if you don't mind, Elizabeth. I want to make it personal because, as I mentioned in the beginning in my opening, I did something in my 20s that I'm really thankful that I did. And I got life insurance. And, at the time I was a pro athlete. I'm living life. I'm working out twice a day because it was fun. Right. And so I got a $2 million policy. It was, I think, $105 a month. I believe I'm still paying about $100 a month. Right around that. It's not more than $110 a month. And now I'm a 50-year-old dude with 2 daughters. I've paid this $2 million policy. If you look at over the years, let's say I've put in $1,200 a year times, 25 years, $2 million my kids will get no matter what. That's one thing I did that was good. So what's your thoughts on that? And do you recommend that everybody do that, which I'm assuming you would?
Absolutely. There's nothing better than being prepared for the unexpected. If you do pass away, I'm sure you want your girls to have some money to continue living their life. And some of the things that people don't think about is, oh, well, if I die, I'm gone. Well, what if you don't die? I have a very personal story to share, and that's my mom had a major car accident 5 years ago. She broke her neck in a car accident. And this would have happened 20 years ago, she would have been gone. But wouldn't you agree, Robert, that the medical advancements they're so amazing that you should have gone, but because of how amazing medical technology is, people are surviving major, major accidents and events. So, in my mom's case, she had life insurance. She had her living trust, which is also very, very important to have because it protects your assets from going to probate. And she had her retirement set up. So she had, everything in good order. So we thought, but she had the old kind of life insurance. So you have an old policy. Do you know if you have living benefits? And what are they?
Well, because I know you now, we're going to find that out. So I will be taking advantage of that opportunity. Yes.
Yeah. And what people don't realize is that, the insurance industry, like many industries, has evolved over the years. Living benefits were not available back 30 years ago when my mom got her life insurance. So Living benefits are benefits that are built into the life insurance policy that can be utilized in the event of a catastrophic event where you're unable to do 2 out of your 6 daily living activities. What are daily living activities? Every day we do these and we don't think twice. We get out of bed, we go to the restroom, we take a shower, we get dressed, and we eat. Those are things we do without thinking twice. If you can't do 2 out of your 6 daily living activities, you're able to accelerate some of the money from your death benefit to help take care of you while you recover. My mom's policy was old. She didn't have living benefits, and she absolutely would have qualified. So what happens in that situation? Here I am. I had my regular, 9 to 5 job, W-2 employee, and I'm like trying to take care of my mom because after a month, 30 days in the hospital, she finally came home, but she wasn't self-sufficient. I had to take care of her, and I had to make a decision. And nobody should have to decide between going to work and caring for their loved one. And I had to make that decision. My job was like, sure, take the time off, FMLA, we'll keep your position, but there's no money coming in, right? So what happens in that situation? You have to choose what you got to do what you got to do. You got to pay the bills. Does your mortgage stop showing up every month?
Nope.
Does your car payment stop showing up every month? No. Those bills show up whether you're working or not.
All right. We learned that in the pandemic. Was I still paying a lease and I couldn't go in the building? Yes.
So you guys, this is all about having protection in place because life happens. It's been raining a lot in Southern California the last couple of weeks. Have you seen all the car accidents out there?
Yeah, because they don't know how to drive, by the way.
Yeah, we don't.
I'm from Indiana, so I grew up with rain and
Yeah.
sleet and snow. So I laugh at the
definitely am a white knuckle driver when it's raining. I am afraid of driving in the rain when the way it's been raining lately. So it is just, it's all about having protection in place. And, we're talking about life insurance, but we're also talking about other insurance. And as you know, I've added AFLAC to the line of products and services protection that I'm offering my clients. And we have an accident plan. And my mom's like, hey, can I get one of those accident plans? Because, I had a really bad accident. And it's like, yeah, you could have, but unfortunately for AFLAC policies, if you're 64 years old and you're listening to this, please reach out to me. You can still get the AFLAC policies, which is the accident and the cancer plans that Robert, you mentioned is cancer. Every 2 out of 3 men will be diagnosed with cancer. And the incidence of colon cancer has risen exponentially. So really having a cancer plan in place is critical as well. So there's just so many ways to protect yourself. So, when I talk to a client, I kind of try to get a full 360. Where are you in life? How is your retirement? Are you saving for retirement? For people like you and I, Robert, we're independent contractors. Like, what are you doing to save for retirement?
Right.
I have people in their 40s and 50s, and they haven't started saving for retirement.
No, and it's one of those things that people don't even want to talk about. So right now, there's quite a few people, they don't want to have a discussion about many of the things that you're talking about. I know this as a direct selling marketer who's done very well in that space, and I know it really well. I know, and having a master's in counseling psychology, I know how people think. And people, the same with nutrition and health, many people know that they're diabetic. They don't want to test their blood glucose. They know it, but they don't want to see it. So they will just avoid it, and they will avoid it. And I see the same thing when it comes to life insurance. I see the same thing when it comes to like cancer. It's scary. So so if you wouldn't mind, and my recommendation would be anyone who's thinking about this, it doesn't hurt. Your biggest obstacle, and what I'm referring to, is just taking a moment, email or call Elizabeth. That doesn't cost anything. So why not reach out? So what are some of the things that you can talk to people about that you think, as far as like how you can help them, the policy, like you mentioned cancer, can you kind of walk down all the things, like the top things that people are interested in and kind of give insight
Yeah.
on each one?
So the one thing that I always start with is let's look at what you have in place. You never want to cancel a policy before you have another one in place. So let's just say you have an old policy. The first step is to review what you have. My goal is let's look and see what you have, how much coverage you have. Our life changes over time. So you might have needed 2 million, 20 years ago, but maybe you don't need as much now, or maybe you need more. So everybody is different. So number one, reviewing their life insurance policy to see what they have. Do they have living benefits? If they don't, then maybe that's something we want to look at. One of the things that people don't realize is that if you have a permanent policy with no living benefits, you have cash value in there. Did you know that you could do something called a 1031? It's like a 1031 exchange in real estate where you take the value of one property and you put it in another. Did you know you could do the same thing with life insurance? So you can move it from a okay policy to a great policy with additional benefits. So if you have value in an old policy, you can move it into a new one. Yeah. So that's something that people have.
So everybody should, everyone should do, not should, but
they should review it.
Yeah, I definitely see the benefits of getting it reviewed.
Yeah.
Everybody.
So that's number one. Number two is understanding their retirement. Are they saving for retirement? Are they putting all their money in one basket? There's 3 buckets of money. Pre-tax money, which is 401ks, 403bs. That's all the money that you're saving pre-tax. And then you have the tax now bucket and the tax later bucket. So we kind of look at your overall picture, like where are you putting all your money? Is it all in pre-tax? Because all that money, people will retire with, let's say you have $1 million in your 401k. Well, I have $1 million. Well, not really. Remember, you and Uncle Sam has a lien on your 401k. And when you put all your money in that bucket, you're in business with Uncle Sam. Every year he's getting some of that money once you retire, because once you retire, you got to pay taxes. So my goal is to help you sometimes shift some of that money into the post-tax bucket, which is like a Roth, the 529s. If you have kids, a lot of people tend to open up 529s. And so that's another piece of the puzzle. And then lastly is having, some additional like supplemental coverage with AFLAC, with the accident plan, a cancer plan. So a cancer plan, since that's something that's just so much in, the headlines with cancer rates going up and everything, is let's stop for a minute. If you're watching this and think about someone who that's been recently diagnosed with cancer. Stop and think. I know we all know someone. How do you think that person felt when the doctor told them they had cancer? What did they feel? Cancer is not an individual disease, is it? It's a family disease. Mm-hmm. It affects us physically, emotionally, and financially. And the number one cause of filing bankruptcy is due to medical expenses. So in a situation where you're diagnosed with cancer, should your focus really be, can I afford to pay for the anti-nausea medication that I'm going to have to take because I'm going to get chemotherapy? Mm-hmm. That should not be your focus. Your focus should be 100% on getting better and knowing that you have the money that you need. Because wouldn't you agree, Robert, that healthcare does not pay 100% of expenses?
No, and I would be excited about all of this. Like, I don't want to scare anybody, right? It's like, because you've shared a lot, and I just want to kind of, for those who are listening, here's the excitement I get from what Elizabeth is sharing. It feels really good when I pay my monthly, or sometimes I pay it annually, payment on my life insurance. If it came down to me eating or paying my life insurance policy, I would not eat and pay my life insurance policy. And it really feels good knowing that I was responsible in that area, making that decision for my kids. And I know there's a lot of grandparents and there's a lot of parents. They would hate to be in a situation where they get cancer. Then they're thinking about all the expenses and do we get a GoFundMe and all of that. And then the people who get Alzheimer's or dementia and lose their ability to take care of themselves, as you mentioned. I mean, what a great opportunity to invest money, and not a lot of money, but make this monthly payment knowing that you got your family covered. You know what I mean? Like, to me, that's exciting. Like, and that's why I'm always fascinated with your field. And I've always felt that it would be a wise thing for me to become like an agent where I can make insurance available to people. It just makes sense because I'm talking to people about their health and life all the time.
Yeah.
And the fact that they could do something now, man, you sleep. I'm telling you, I sleep better knowing that I have a will. I sleep better knowing that I have life insurance, that my kids won't have to do a GoFundMe. I sleep better with certain things in place, and it feels good. Maybe it's not the same feeling as when I was 32, but hitting 50 is like I feel like I'm a man. No,
you're being
responsible.
You're being a responsible adult. And I'll tell you what, many people travel, I don't know about you, but when I get on a plane, I'm like, I'm really glad I got that life insurance. Even though we are more likely to get in an accident in the car, it's something about being up in the air that you always say, I got everything covered. I got my trust.
Oh yeah. Or when you hit that turbulence and you're grabbing your kids' hands.
Yeah.
Hey, real quick, is there anything you can do because I had a question to come in, some people in Canada would like to know, is there anything you can offer them?
In Canada, I can see about Aflac. Aflac might be available in Canada. And in terms of life insurance, I mean, I can look into it. I haven't had any requests, but I can definitely look into that and get back to them.
So for those who posted that from Canada, I would just send Elizabeth an email and tell her what you're looking for, and then she can do the research.
Yeah, I do know that we are able to insure like U.S. citizens that are living abroad. So we are able to do that. And for, you mentioned grandparents. I know a lot of grandparents are putting money in the bank for their grandkids, like, just putting some money away. Consider doing life insurance. It grows, you get credited interest. So one of the biggest things misconceptions of life insurance is that, I'm not sure if you guys are aware, but the banks actually have the majority of their cash in bank-owned life insurance. So you're putting your money in the bank and then they're lending that money out. You're actually able to put, just cut out the middleman, cut out the bank and put the money directly into a life insurance policy. If you have grandkids and you're wanting to save for them on a monthly basis, they're going to have a guaranteed life insurance for the rest of their life. And they're going to have, cash value growing over time. One of the first things I did when I got into the industry is I got my daughter a life insurance policy. Why? Because she's going to have a really nice little nest egg when she's my age. It grows tax-free. She's protected. It's very interesting, but my daughter told me one of her friend's little brothers was diagnosed with cancer recently. My daughter hears.
And just come back because I have a question. I'm gonna let you finish, but I want to come back to the question about because I don't have a life insurance policy for my kids, so I want to come back to that. But go ahead.
And so my daughter hears what I'm doing, and I'm always talking about insurance, and she goes, "Mom, I have life insurance, right?" And I thought that's interesting that she's asking me. She does have a policy with living benefits and cash value, but it's just like she's paying attention. And it feels good to know that she's kind of, she hears Mom talking and how important it is. And she keeps hearing about people getting sick and she's relating it to what I'm doing. So I'm just really happy to, be doing that. And I want to share with everyone how important it is to protect our kids too.
Okay. So let's go back to me because if it's something that gets my attention, I believe it can help others. And a good amount of people, hopefully, a lot of my people are looking for nutrition and health, and every once in a while I get to do something like this. But grandparents, you guys, parents like me, older parents, you hit 50, I got teenage kids.
Hmm.
I don't have life insurance for them. I 100% want to do that with you.
Yeah.
That just makes sense to me. And I can pay that and then put it in a position where, let's say when they're 20 something years old, then they can pay for it, right? So can you talk a little bit about that? Because that's something that I think some grandparents who are listening to us right now, what a great gift to give them, like now. And then eventually, if you're gone, then put it in, set it up where the parents can take over it until the kid is old enough, or the parent just pays for it until they can't pay for it. And then the kid is 40, 50 years old. Like you say, your daughter is going to experience a really nice little nest egg when she's your age. That's, yeah, talk. Let's hear it.
Yeah, I love it. So people always think, oh, I'm too young. I don't need insurance. Nothing's going to happen to me. We know when we're young, we think we're invincible. Nothing's ever going to happen to us. But there's a few reasons why I would recommend it. Number one is you're securing your insurability. As we know, when we get older, things happen. Our health changes. We can get diagnosed with things that now there's no going back. So when you secure your insurability, you're locking in your rate. What does that mean? It means that insurance carriers have ratings. So, for example, you might be super healthy when you're 20 years old, and then when you're 30, you get diagnosed with diabetes or an autoimmune disease. I mean, we know these things happen, but guess what? If you bought your policy when you were really healthy at 20 and you got a preferred rating, yeah, it's locked in.
I did it.
It's locked in. So no matter what happens, you have that rating and you are locked in and nobody can take your life insurance away from you. So that's one of the benefits. Number two, the cost of insurance. I mean, if I'm 70 years old and I'm getting insurance, the risk of something happening to me is way higher than when I'm 20. So the cost of insurance is going to be much higher when I'm older than when I'm in my 20s.
Okay, so let me ask you, give us a range. It doesn't have to be exact, of what you pay for your daughter's life insurance. Like, what is the monthly fee for that? And what is she getting?
Well, it depends. Everything can be set up, relative to what works for you. But for my daughter, she has $100,000 policy, a death benefit. So if she were to pass away, she has there's $100,000 death benefit, and I'm paying $150 a month. But that's because that's how much I want to put in. That's how but it could be less. But the more you put in, the more it grows, because the way that permanent life insurance works is that it's not your money is not in the market. So as we know, there's always dips and, ebbs and flows with the market, but it's linked to the market. So a short just explanation is that every year my daughter, the permanent policy is credited based on the performance of the S&P 500. The beautiful thing is when the market takes a big dip, the money in the policy does not. You can only experience ups in the upswings. You participate when the market goes up, but you do not participate when the market goes down.
Nice.
That's one of the biggest benefits of utilizing life insurance. And, to those people who are, in their 50s and getting close to retiring and they have all their money in their 401k, one question: if the market dropped 30% today, would you have it in you to continue working for 3 to 5 years? Because that's what you would have to do. And you can't make up a 30% drop in 3 to 5 years. So this is where I try to coach people to kind of reallocate. If you're putting $300 a month in your 401k, maybe you don't put all that $300. Maybe you put some of it there, but you move and you reallocate some of that money to a permanent policy. A lot of times it's not taking extra money out of your pocket, but reallocating some of the money that you're already putting aside into a permanent policy, if it makes sense. It doesn't make sense for everyone. If you have a lot of health conditions, it may not make sense. But guess what? If you have a healthy spouse, you can utilize them. And instead of putting the money in your policy, you can put it in your spouse's policy. You're going to be the beneficiary anyway. So there's a lot of ways, but you got to know the person that you're working with. You guys, you got to know that your agent knows what they're doing. And that's really important.
Okay. So we have about good 5 minutes left, if that's okay.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here thinking, which is really interesting to me. So I can't wait for you to let me know if someone reached out to you.
Yeah.
Because with everything that you've shared, it doesn't cost to reach out to you and have a conversation and to see where a person is.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of those things where I would expect every person would want to do this unless they know 1,000% that they're working with someone like you or a similar field, that they have it all locked in.
Mm-hmm.
If they do not, you guys, if you don't have it locked in, especially you grandparents, those who have lived, this is a good opportunity to reach out to someone like Elizabeth and do your review. It just makes sense. Like, I can already tell you right now, okay, that I will be getting a policy with you for my kids. I do not have life insurance for my kids. Now, God forbid if something happened to one of my kids today or tomorrow, could I afford to pay for their funeral and all the things that go with that? Yes, I'm good there.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't make sense that I don't have a life insurance policy on them that can turn into something that can be another blessing for their adult life.
Mm-hmm.
Why wouldn't I? So every dad, okay, mom, why wouldn't we do this for our babies? So you got a new client out of this conversation.
Wow, that's awesome. I love
and I've been talking to you on and off for months.
Yeah. I love what I do. I love just really educating. It's an education process. I don't sell anything. I educate and I explain and I provide options. So one thing I want to mention as well is, if you think you don't qualify for life insurance, you'd be surprised. I've gotten people qualified with diabetes. And guess what? If you're working with Robert and you start off with your high A1C and then you get your life insurance and then it goes down, guess what? After a year of having your policy, we can do a review and they might reduce your premium based on your health. So there's a lot of great reasons to work with Robert as well. And this is one of the things, I'm very much into health and taking care of yourself. And that's one of the main reasons that, Robert caught my attention and that we've been collaborating, because all of this is about being proactive and taking care of ourselves and making sure that we have protection in place. So if you do have diabetes, yes, you can still get approved. I work with a lot of different carriers. There's carriers that specialize in insuring people that have diabetes. There's an app with one of the carriers that you can track if you're doing healthy habits, and your premium will fluctuate based on how good you're taking care of yourself.
Nice.
Insurance companies want you to live a long life. They don't want to pay out. So they're going to reward you for good behavior, things you're already doing. You're working out, you're buying good bunch of greens in the grocery store. Guess what? On the app, you get to track all that and you get points.
Wow.
Good stuff.
Good stuff. Hey, you guys, you heard it right here. Reach out to Elizabeth. Free? Are they free consultations when you talk to people, or they got to pay? Okay. And you definitely are not someone I can tell people who are on the fence. You definitely are not one of those hard sells people make you feel guilty, and you're not that. So you're someone who really can meet people. Like one of my clients has a lifestyle engineer that he pays like $400,000 a year. And I was like, what is a lifestyle engineer? It's like he engineers so this is the billionaire friend of mine. He's got a lifestyle engineer. He goes, can you talk to my lifestyle engineer? And then I'm going to work everything. I'm like, okay, this is interesting. Let me find out what a lifestyle engineer is. But the short of it is someone who he's put in place to help remind him to do the things that he can do to not only protect himself, but protect his family. And I believe that's what you do. You're like a lifestyle engineer.
Yeah. One thing I want people to ask themselves if they're watching this today is, if you were gone tomorrow, would your family be in a better or a worse financial position.
Mm.
If they're homeowners, would your family be able to afford the mortgage? In California, we need 2, 3 incomes to afford one mortgage. So really stop and ask yourself, if you've been thinking about doing this, stop thinking about it and just talk to someone that can help put something in place to protect you and your family. And, just stop procrastinating like you are procrastinating going to the gym, or, start cooking your own meals. Like, this is real stuff. And every day I talk to people who tell me they wish they had. And I've talked to several people who, in the whole, let me call you back, let me get back to you, let me talk to my spouse, they've been diagnosed with cancer. And I always ask myself, what if I would have just followed up one more time?
That's a good one, because I'm seeing that happen. Thank you, Elizabeth. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
So you guys, you can contact Elizabeth. We've made her information available to you. So reach out and let's continue. Let's follow up. And maybe in a month, let's have this conversation again.
Yeah.
And let's say no one reaches out to you.
Mhm.
That's a conversation to have.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because like you, I've met people that I've sat down with. I've given them a presentation. They find out they're pre-diabetic. I don't see them. They don't do the program. 2 years goes by. I'm at Ralph's, a grocery store, you guys, for those who don't know what Ralph's is. And I run into them and they go, man, Robert, guess what? I go, what? Yeah, I haven't seen you in 2 years. What's up? I'm full-blown type 2 diabetic. I'm on this medication, that medication. And now my blood, I'm like, wow. And I was talking to them before that happened. So I get what you're saying.
Yeah. And one last thing is, if you're a business owner, AFLAC is an amazing coverage to offer your employees. There's a lot of benefits to you as an employer, and it doesn't cost you anything, and it helps to reduce your taxable income. So if there's any business owners out there that want to offer something to their employees and they just can't really afford to offer like medical insurance, this is a great way to offer something that's going to give them some coverage and also help you as a business owner.
All right. Well, if you wouldn't mind, I'm going to put you in the green room. I want to say bye to you.
Okay.
I'm going to say bye to the audience. So stay there, okay?
Thank you.
All right, you guys, you got to meet Elizabeth. Act on it. Don't be that person that sits around and waits. Seriously. Why not? I appreciate you all. I'm thankful for you all. Let's continue to share this message and to get out there and just help people. Let's get them informed so that they can make the best decisions for themselves as well as their families. And this was just one example of something that we can all do proactively that could put us in a better position, not just for ourselves, but for our families. So listen in. I'm Robert Ferguson. I want to say thank you for being here. Please share, like, subscribe if you can. And I'll be back later today because tomorrow's a big day. Tomorrow, which will be March 3rd, 2024, is Global Omega-3 Day. And I'm going to share some insight on what that means. And then on Global Omega-3 Day, I'm going to make a big announcement. So you don't want to miss that. All right. So until mañana or later, I'm Robert Ferguson. I share because I care. And watch this video. Make sure you like, subscribe. Keep it moving.